What's good, people? This is Sam O'Reilly from Fight Talk with James Lupton from Round 8, and we're delighted to be joined today for our first Fight Talk podcast by the White Rhino, Dave Allen. Dave, how are you, mate?
I'm very good, thank you, mate. I'm good.
Yeah.
Alright, Dave, how we doing, mate? Alright.
Yeah,
I want to start off, mate, with the Olympics. Obviously, everyone's buzzing about the Olympics right now. Have you watched much of the boxing in the Olympics?
Yeah, I've watched some of it. I think a little bit. I've been a bit off put. The start of like some categories on the first day of the Olympics. Some seem to start after a week. The finals have been here, there, and everywhere. So it's been a little bit hard to keep up. I've not watched all of the boxing. Obviously, I've got a keen interest in how Joe Joyce is getting on. Obviously, in the final tonight. Got a keen interest in that. I've done a lot of sparring with the fella. I know a few of the other lads as well. So I've watched all the British fights, and we're not been as successful as the London Games, but that's to be expected. But Joshua Buatsi, I think, kind of stole the show. He looks like he's going to make a very good pro, and I think Joe will win the gold. Obviously, Nicola Adams won the gold. These are the best amateurs in the world, and from our standpoint of being British fight fans, there's obviously a lot of talent there that's going to turn over, so like Anthony Fowler, so it's exciting times.
Yes, you mentioned obviously Joe Joyce fighting in literally about half hour's time, I think it is. Like you say there, you sparred with him, you know him very well. How to see the fight tonight going. Tony Yoka's fought him twice before, 1-1, lost one. Yoka's, he's no mug, very good amateur pedigree. How do you see it going tonight?
Yeah, I see Joe winning, Joe, you watch him on TV. I remember I first met him when I was up there on the assessment. I was up there in the assessment as a cruiserweight, and they said he can spar with Joe tomorrow, and I thought, this is going to be easy. He doesn't like anything at all. And even back then, he was a little bit more raw than he is now. He still looks like a raw novice now. So, but I quickly found out, it's a totally different kettle of fish when you get in there with him. He's very physically strong, very, very fit. He's got a little bit of a dig as well. So, and I think these 3-round fights are a real disadvantage to him as well. When he turns professional and he starts fighting 6, 8, 10 and 12, if you don't get him out there inside a round or two, there's not many fighters in the world that are going to be able to keep up with the pace he keeps. So, I expect to be British champion within 12 months, so...
Really? You think he can do it that quick, Dave? Yeah, you think he's ready? He's that good, Dave? You reckon he'll be ready for British title that soon? Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon if he turns pro tomorrow, obviously there is no British heavyweight champion right now. Let's say the British heavyweight champion is Dillian Whyte. I would fancy him to give Dillian a real good run for his money. I think he'd beat the likes of Gary Cornish and South Sexton tomorrow. So he's 30 years old as well by the same token. So. They'll not be hanging around with him. I think he's a British champion in no time.
Yeah. You touched on Joshua Buatsi. He's for me he's been the standout guy. He's a guy that not that many people knew about going into these Olympics. And he's knocking people over for fun. He just looks a real guy, doesn't he? He looks the total package.
Yeah, he's looked very well. Before the Olympics, if someone had said to me name the Olympic team that's going, I'd have named all of them apart from Buatsi. He was the one. I didn't even give a thought to. I thought, he's a little bit inexperienced. I wasn't even aware that he qualified until he stopped the first fella. So, and then he's turned out to be the one that seems to impress the most. He just seems to be. He can box, but he just seems very strong, very powerful. So, as a pro, he's the one I've been most excited about turning over.
Yeah, James, what do you reckon? Who stood out for you?
For me, do you know what? Singly, it's got to be between the bantamweight final yesterday, Stevenson versus Ramirez. Absolute great fight, two southpaws. Just you couldn't pick them apart before the fight. Even watching the fight, it was a case of back and forth between rounds. Shakur Stevenson, the American lad, obviously distraught afterwards. Losing out on the gold, he weren't pleased, but he was the first to turn around and say, do you know what, Ramirez beat me. It was better than a night, and it's good to see they're both young. Ramirez 22, Stevenson 19. Stevenson's talks of him signing with Mayweather. He said it's not done deal yet, but that's how big this kid could be. Maybe if looked at him already at 19 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, for you, Dave, apart from the GB lads and women, who stood out for you apart from the British?
Yeah, there's a lot of good fighters about, and the Stevenson. I don't think I've ever seen one of his fights. I think with the whole Conlon thing, I was really looking forward to seeing Conlon against Stevenson. And obviously, if Conlon had beat him, the Ramirez, the Cuban fellow, looks very good. So, it is a shame that we was robbed of seeing Conlon against Stevenson and possibly against Ramirez, because I think Conlon would have won the whole thing. I think there's been a lot of good fighters, a lot of good foreign fighters. I think the best fighter that I've seen the foreign fight was probably the Cuban light heavyweight. Is it De La Cruz?
Yeah,
I think he's possibly the best fighter that I've seen. The Conlon thing definitely did take a little bit away from that.
It did. No, it was a sick night. The decision was terrible, and obviously he made his feelings quite clear about the situation, didn't he? So it's one of them things that I'm sure he'll be turning pro now.
Yeah, I'd like to think he'll turn pro now. There's nothing really for him to stay amateur for now. 4 years is a long time to wait, and who's to say that in 4 years' time the same thing won't happen again? And I'm sure he'll make a very good pro.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. I'm sure there'll be a lot of promoters ready to snap him up and get him out and about on their shows.
Yeah, his brother's with MGM. He trains over in Marbella, so and his brother's a Commonwealth champ. So, I'm sure he'll be just as successful.
Yeah, I'm sure he will do. Obviously, you touched on Dillian Whyte a little bit. It well publicised. You had a really good scrap with him. That's where I first met you afterwards. How since then? What you've been doing with yourself? You've been in the gym a lot. I know. Obviously, you're out. You're going to be out regularly, and you're out again in 2 weeks. And that fight was only 3 or 4 weeks ago now. How have you been? First off, how did you assess the fight with him, and how have you been since then? What have you been up to?
Yeah, the fight. I've watched it back obviously a few times. The way I see it is, I took the fight. Obviously, 3 weeks' notice is basically what I had from when I accepted the fight. But I was training for 2 weeks prior, doing ticking over, and then I had 3 weeks' notice. And then I had 2 proper weeks training. And I did 10 rounds of a very good fight, and I think watching it back defensively, I was very happy. The fact that I did 10 rounds, I was happy with. But, looking back at it now, it feels a bit like a missed opportunity, because there wasn't really levels between us. He just kind of old man me out of it a little bit. He just threw the punches, he just let his hands go. And, it's very disappointing looking back at it now. Possibly I wasn't ready for the fight. I think even if I was 100% fit, I still don't believe I'd have won the fight. I think it's the inexperience that cost me more. Not the fitness, it was the inexperience. I kind of was hoping he was going to tire it out more than he did, but I didn't really do anything to tire him out. I half expected him to tire himself out by throwing punches, and that's not going to work at that level because obviously he's very fit. So obviously I took a lot out of it. I've learned a hell of a lot from it. And moving forward now, I had 1 day off after the fight. I just had 1 day, the Sunday, and I've trained every day since. Obviously apart from rest days and whatever, but I've got a 6-rounder, Doncaster Dome, September 3rd. I'm fighting October 1st at Durham Valley Leisure Centre, another 6-rounder, and then the last Saturday in November back at Doncaster Dome. So that's 3 fights there. The prize fight's been mentioned, but in all seriousness, that's not going to happen. I wouldn't think. I've not heard anything. That's just me being like me again on Twitter. So the plan is to fight 3 times before the end of the year, 2 6-rounders and possibly a 10-round title fight at the end of the year. And if the prize fight does come, it'd be a very tempting thing. And I'm not saying I wouldn't take it. I would love to take it, but obviously I said now to my manager, my trainee, I said, yeah, listen, we'll take it today. We'll do what we need to do. So, but yeah, any offers obviously that come to me, me and Steffi sit down and we'll discuss it. So, but at the minute, the 3 fights before the end of the year, that's the plan, and that's what's happening.
Yeah. Obviously, David Price, you touched on. I seen one of the tweets you sent out regarding it, and you know, some people like your style on Twitter. Some people may not. James wanted to ask you about the social media aspect of it, and I mean, I love the T-shirts that your guys wore to the Dillian Whyte fight. The chat shit, get paid, and realistically, yeah, that's what I mean. You have to make a splash, don't you?
Yeah, you've got to. You know, obviously, like you say on social media, you know, some people like me, some people don't like me. But you know, like on Twitter, that is me. But you know, it's difficult because if I never said a word to anyone, if it wasn't for Twitter, I would still be fighting 4 and 6 rounders at Doncaster Down. The Dillian Whyte fight wouldn't have happened in a million years. So if people dislike me because of it, I don't really care because I've got to get paid. So and I've got to put myself out there. And I don't know any other fighter really. Michael Sullivan does a good job, but apart from that, that's used social media to the same effect that I have, you know. So if some people don't like me for it, then I don't really care.
Well, you say that, you know, the way it's impacted, obviously getting that fight. I mean, I think you tweeted yourself before you'd even said anything to Dillian on Twitter and tried to chase that fight. You had just over 400 followers. I mean, today you've got just under 7,000. So it's clear to see the impact that self-promotion and social media has. I mean, you know, You say it's yourself. Will you continue to do that? Will you chase down Price, you know, Sexton, let's say, for example, people like that, to get these big fights? Because it clearly works.
Yeah, from the Gavin fight till now, gained like 6,000 Twitter followers, gained 3 sponsors. You know, these things have got to be done, you know, and obviously I've been, you know, Matchroom seemed to like working with me, you know, off the back of the Gavin and the Orient fight, you know, there was bad performances, so, you know, if it wasn't for what I do on social media or the tweed jacket and the cap kind of thing, I wouldn't be getting a look in, so, you know, it's got to be done. If people don't like it, then, you know, some people do like it, some people don't, but it is what it is.
Yeah, there's an art in self-promotion. I think you mastered it, mate. I think you're getting there, and like you say, it's when you look at, like you said, the Jason Gavin fight. Not everyone was impressed with that fight. You probably weren't impressed with it yourself, but you know you've done well, and I think it takes a lot. You deserve a lot of credit for getting the big fight off things like that. So I think you can only self-promotion can only do good for you, and people that don't like it, well, at the end of the day, it's not them that's got to put food on your table, is it?
Yeah, I think a lot of people like to see what they see, but like. Watch the Gavin fight, watch the Dillian Whyte fight. What they don't understand is when they're watching certain fighters on Sky, you know, the top fighters, these have had over 100 amateur fights and 30 professional fights at this level. They've been doing it for years. I only just turned 24. My first fight was only like 5.5 years ago. I had 10 amateur fights. And I've only really, before the Gavin fight, I only had 2 fights where people tried punching me back. So I don't get any credit for taking the French champion after, you know, only been in boxing for 4.5 years, then Gavin, then fighting Dillian Whyte. You know, there's a lot of negativity about, but you know, I take the plaudits well. So you kind of got to take the negativity well as well. But I just feel like a lot of people, especially on social media, you know, in all walks of life, but especially in social media, you know, they're not very understanding what's of boxing. I don't think so. I don't really listen to them anyway.
Yeah. You know, David Price. Obviously, when you say David Price, is that more to make waves, or would you consider a Price fight? Is it a fight you'd be comfortable and confident in winning?
Yeah, you know, obviously. What happened the other day is how it came about. Sky was in the gym hotel, so I just said the night before on Twitter, I said something about I want to fight David Price. So they just said to me, do you want to talk about David Price? I said, why not? Because you got to keep yourself relevant, you know. Mm-hmm. If not, then if there's no better platform than Sky Sports, so you know, if they're going to ask me to do something, you just kind of do it. So that's what I did. But if it comes up, it's one that I will take 100% because it's one that I will discuss. October 15th wouldn't be ideal, obviously, but David Price can punch and he's a very good boxer. He's a bit of a bully. I don't mean that in a bad, derogatory manner. I mean it in terms of he's a bully fighter. So I don't know. Hopefully it does come up. I want these. These are the kind of fights I want now. People say you have a short career if you keep taking these kind of fights, but look at the likes of Johnny Nelson who fought all the best. He ended up becoming world champion. He did it with a few losses on his record, but he got there in the end, and I don't care now. My undefeated record's gone, but it went to a very good fight. I'd rather be where I'm at now than fought 20 binmen and be undefeated. It'd be pretty hollow. So I'm happy with the way things are going. And if any big fight comes up, they'll be only not taken because the people around me deem that is the best. That is the best. It's in my best interest.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we've saying about Price, things like that, and big fights. Friday night, we had Jarrell Miller fight Fred Cassie. I see people were tweeting you yesterday throughout about Miller saying, would you fight him? I think you could beat him, etc. I mean, what's your opinions on Jarrell Miller?
Yeah, I've only seen highlights of him, and obviously the likes of Jarrell Miller, the likes of David Price, and a few other names, Price knows who I am, obviously. He's British and stuff. So, but the likes of Jarrell Miller and other American names that get brought up, and Adrian Granite or whatever he's called, these guys probably don't know I exist. So, the likelihood of these fights happening are pretty nil. But at the same time, Dillian Whyte, people talk about him like he's world level and stuff, and and if that is so, then I'm not far off that level myself. So, these guys at the top, I've sparred the best fighters. I've sparred, two of the 3 world champions right now. I've sparred also Klitschko and a few others, and they're not supermen. People laugh when I say I got the top end as Joshua and whoever else in sparring, but it's true. They're not supermen, and when I do take what I do into the ring, what I do in sparring, I believe I am a world class heavyweight, in the making. So, we'll see.
Junior Witter, he's someone you've been working alongside now. Obviously, he was there for the Whyte fight. Have you is that going to sort of, will it be a change in your style, or is it just sort of fine tuning what you're good at, or how will working with Junior help you?
Yeah, Junior and obviously Dom at the minute, while we was working together, how that came about was because Dom went away to Ventura for Kel to start his camp. And the Whyte fight obviously it was short notice. So, Dom had already done that, and that was already set. I'd already booked my tickets to go as well. So, that couldn't be helped. Junior and also Amir Khan said that, they were going to take over the training, and it went really well, and for this next fight, done some training with Don while he's been back, but for the most part, he's been with Junior and Killer again. It's going really well, we're not really changing the style because I've not really got, as of right now, I've still not really got a style, we're still doing what, in the Whyte fight, I was fighting like a bit of a sparring partner, you're going forward, you're blocking shots, you're doing this and that, and then you go for a little walk and you try this and other things, I've not really got a style right now, the stuff that we're doing as well, the training I've been doing, obviously in the morning you do your running, you do your weights, you do whatever, but in terms of boxing, we're just trying to increase the output, we're trying to increase the volume of punches that I'm throwing, we're trying to speed things up, we'll start sparring next week. And what Junior doesn't know about boxing is not really worth knowing. So, he when I sparred, he's come with us to sparring sessions before the Whyte fight, and obviously, as you would expect, he reads it really well, So,
yeah, someone who's had a great career.
I'm glad to be working with him, because obviously I'm a big Junior Witter fan.
Definitely. I mean, like you say, it can never be a negative having someone who's been around that level of fights and that level of opposition And trainers like Ingle, being around them kind of guys, it's only going to benefit you in the long run, isn't it? So it's only going to be a positive for your career.
Yeah, the gym is full of world class European level, British level fighters. Like I said, Kid Galahad, Junior himself, other fighters. There's a lot of good fighters about, and success breeds success. So the gym's a good. The gym's thriving right now. So with the Golovkin fight, just around the corner, the gym's absolutely buzzing.
You mentioned earlier on about your future fights. You've got a fight lined up a couple of weeks' time. One October, one November. Looking into next year, I know these are sort of 4 and 6 rounders. Next year, what is the plan? Have you got a plan yet, or is it get these out of the way, have a little break over Christmas, then go into it again, or?
Well, like I say, we've got these 3 fights now, and unless a fight with the likes of a Price or whoever else comes up, we'll stick to this plan. As things stand now, I'm mandatory for the English title, I think, with Sexton. I don't think 3 wins is going to harm my position. Come early next year, I'll probably still be mandatory for the English. Could even, now I've done the 10 round against Dillian, I could even get myself in line for a British title fight, and that is the plan in 2017, is to become British champion, and whatever we've got to do to make that necessary, to make that happen, that's what we'll do.
I like that fight. I like yourself against Sam Sexton. I think that's a really good measuring stick. You know what I mean? You're learning on the way up. Sexton's been around for a long time, and he's been at British level. I think it'd be a really good fight. It's a fight. I really, the British Boxing Board of Control. They were talking about that again, him against Whyte, weren't they? Which is originally why yourself against Dillian wasn't for the British title. But yeah, I think that's a really good fight, and I think it'd be a really good measuring stick for the British fighters around. There's enough of them that fight would be one that I think everyone would be interested in.
Yeah, the British scene right now, obviously, the Sexton and Whyte. Whyte's already beaten, So that fight's obviously not going to happen for me, and I think Dillian, I think October is looking to be out, world title eliminator possibly. But you've got like Ian Lewison and Gary Cornish and a few others. Dominic Akinlade, so there's no heavyweights out there. And, first and foremost, I think they need to get the British title active,
Mm-hmm.
It's back vacant again for the last, since Danny Williams and John McDermott was fighting in them days, it's just seemingly been passed about, with world-class talent Tyson's or they're never really defending it. And I think they just need to get it back busy again, and
yeah.
Obviously, I took the Dillian Whyte fight, got beat, so now it's a case of rebuilding towards that, and that is the most important thing, these big fighters, like the Price, they're nice and that, but eventually, I want to win the British title, that's what it's all about for myself.
Yeah, definitely. One of the most prestigious titles, and yeah, having it sitting there inactive, it's not doing anything for it, is it? So, yeah, the sooner they get it back active and people fighting for it again and actually wanting to fight for it, the better.
Yeah, definitely. The British heavyweight title is the biggest prize in British professional boxing, I believe. And it wasn't years gone by anyway. So
yeah.
You mentioned Dominic Akinlade. We spoke about him previously, Dave. So he's Southern Area champ. He beat Little in his last outing. He's obviously looking for the English title as well. If, for example, you and Sexton get made, is that potentially the first defence, or?
Yeah, but I think, if me and Sexton does seem to happen, I think the winner of that, goes into a British title fight, I think. I just look at all these people, if I look at the last 3 years, I don't think anyone that's rated below 7 in Britain, like Hughie Fury, Dillian Whyte upwards, has got a better wins than I've got against JC Gavin, the French champion, That's how I kind of look at it. So, there's a lot of good fights to be made. mate. They couldn't make Lewis, and they made Lewis and Cornish and me and Sexton the winners of that club. The British House. Obviously, that's not how things are planned out. But you know, the board have just got to make the title, you know, a prestigious thing to win again. You know, why is it vacant all the time? It's not doing anything, is it? So they've just got to get it back. Just got to get the ball back rolling and get it fought for as soon as possible.
Yeah, here, mate. Now you mentioned the gym thriving. There's a guy in your gym. I think his name's Kell Brook. He's got a fairly big fight coming up. You know, could you gain the magnitude of a fight like that? That's going to be watched literally all around the world. A fight with a guy like Golovkin that's much avoided. Can you imagine yourself being in fights like that in the future? And how do you think Kell's going to get on? I mean, is it affecting him being in the magnitude of this fight, and has, you know, the press and everyone showing an interest in it, being around it? Do you think it's going to affect his performance or the build up or anything like that?
No, you know, I mean, you know, Kell's a world champion. You know, he won his title in America. He's a very experienced fighter now. The Golovkin fight is obviously a very hard fight. Golovkin, you know, not only is he one of the best fighters in the world, you know, if Kell was in the same weight division, you know, he'd still be the underdog. But the fact that he's going up 2 weight divisions as well, you know, I think it'd make it the best win by a British fighter, you know, for a very long time, probably since, you know, Turpin beat Robinson. So he has got his hands full. I've seen him in the gym though. You know, Kell's he's a massive man for welterweight, and I think he's gonna be a decent sized middleweight as well. I've sparred with him to the body. You know, he's very heavy-handed, as heavy-handed as he come. It's not a foregone conclusion, but at the same time, he has massively got his work cut out as well. But like you say, it's a massive fight. It's the biggest fight of 2016 for myself. Personally, I think it's the biggest fight of the year. Yeah, it's definitely one that Kell can win. You know, if he does win, he comes in overnight, you know, the biggest name in boxing, I think. So, you know, for risk reward for the money he's getting, you know, it's well worth the risk. He's definitely putting the work in, you know, and he seems very confident of winning.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one of those fights where it's sort of, some people look at fights and go, oh, you know, is it worth the risk? Is it high reward, high risk for that? With this, you know, even losing, if he's to lose to Golovkin, he's not lost anything. It's, end of the day, it's Golovkin, like you said, the most avoided fighter on the planet right now. He's gone up 2 weight divisions to fight him. You know, but afterwards, do you see, will Kell stay at the weight? Will he go back down, defend potentially against tonight's winner, Errol Spence Jr. and Bundu? You know, what do you see for Kell's future?
Yeah, of course, if he wins, then you got to look at the winner of Smith and Alvarez. You know, for the winner of Kell and Golovkin will fight the winner of Alvarez and Smith. You know, any permutations of them 4 names are good. You know, Kell against Liam Smith would have been good, and Alvarez Golovkin, but you know, we've got the fights we've got coming up, and they're exciting enough. You know, the winners can face fast. What Kell was, I'm not so sure. Financially, he'd be a position where he'd have to fight again, but also, you know, obviously he's got his belts down at 147, he's got his IBF down at 147, you know, and some big fights down there, but, you know, whether he can still do 147 again now, I don't know, but, you know, these aren't questions that I can answer, you know, but, you know, just as purely the boxing fan, September 10th is a fight that I'm very much looking forward to.
Yeah, he weighed in. Kell weighed in. They had a check weight, didn't they? 30 days out, and he was heavier than Golovkin, and he seemed to carry the weight well. You know, I mean, you'd think that 20 odd pounds above his fighting weight, you might look out of shape, but he looks in great condition. So I think a lot of us are going to be shocked at how good Kell looks at the weight. You know, he's probably been draining himself for a long time to get to 147.
Yeah, Kell's been fighting at 10 stone 7, but the only time he ever weighs 10 stone 7 is when he jumps on the scales, you know.
Yeah, of course.
Kell 100% fit, shredded down down to, fighting condition, he's probably 11 and a half stone. The last 12 to 14 pounds he loses to make welterweight, he's probably all water that he has to lose in the sauna and stuff. So, I think it's to his advantage. Golovkin's not the biggest middleweight in the world, fight with the best, but he's not the biggest. So, it's an interesting fight. I'm intrigued. Obviously, you have to put your house on it. You're picking Golovkin, but Kell's a very, very live underdog in the fight, I believe. Because I think the thing that people are underestimating Kell's punching power, and they're thinking Golovkin is a simple man, and nobody's that. So, it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Like you say, it's the biggest fight of the year without a doubt. For me, obviously, like you say, it's a big ask for Kell. But for me, I think, like you say, Kell will surprise people. I personally think Kell will go all the way. I think Golovkin takes it on points. I think, at best, for Kell, he will lose on a split decision, in my honest opinion. But I think he's going to surprise the world, even after a loss.
Yeah, it definitely can't do him any harm. Getting in there with Golovkin, not many people want to do it, and for someone to jump up 2 weight classes on paper anyway, it's people couldn't believe it and stuff. But yeah, I just think let's hope he gives a good account of himself, and we know how good he is at 147. It's a shame he didn't get bigger fights at his weight first, and he obviously felt he had to jump up to middleweight to get the big fights. Having said that, when it comes up and you get the opportunity to fight Golovkin, a fight of this magnitude in England, obviously he won his world title over in America. When was the last time there was a fight of this magnitude over in this country? And I think it's a fight that Kell's thriving for this kind of big fight. So let's just hope he does himself justice and goes out there and doesn't have any regrets when he comes out of there.
Yeah, I think the last outcome I expect is he's going to embarrass himself anyway. Also get stopped inside a couple of rounds. I don't see that being the case at all. Kell, as he is, like the smaller man back at welterweight. For the first few rounds, it's going to be very fast. He can box, he can move, and I believe that will be the game plan. And at the very least, at least for 3 or 4 rounds, he's going to be on top. I expect him to be from the halfway, and then that's when it's going to get hard for him.
Charlie Edwards is fighting for a world title in his 10th professional fight against Casemiro. That is a tough fight for him.
It's a tough fight for him. I spoke to Charlie not too long ago. He's 100%. He feels he's ready. He's super confident. There is no doubt in his mind. There's no way he's not going without that title.
What do you reckon, Dave? Do you reckon it's too much to ask? Or do you reckon it's one of these opportunities that comes up and you might be able to grab it with both hands?
Yeah, it's come very early, but I remember watching Charlie sparring all the time, put the GB, and he's a very good fighter. I've not seen much of this Casemiro at all. I'm only going on reputation and what I've heard from the people, but he will. If Charlie Edwards can beat him and become a world champion in his 10th fight,
some feat.
It'd be some feat. I would be surprised, but Charlie Edwards, I will become a world champion. I'm just not sure whether it'll be September 10th. I've watched a lot of him. I think he's a brilliant fighter, but I was very surprised when this got announced. Like I said, I don't know how good Casemiro is. I've not seen him, but from what I've heard, for the 22-year-old, I think he is in his 10th professional fight to beat him. It's
big ask. It is a big ask.
It's a massive ask, but you got to give him credit for taking it. It's a bottle taking. It's a fight. It's definitely a fight that he didn't need to take. So you got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, definitely. He could have just carried on ticking over in the short term, getting some wins under his belt, and then looking for the bigger fights after a bit more experience. But I guess it's similar to Kell in many ways. The big fight's there, been offered to him, and he's gone for it. So yeah, it's another one. I hope he can pull it out of the bag and maybe become a world champion after 10 fights. That'd be nice.
Well, inside 10, I think it's his 9th fight. So Even inside 10.
Inside 10. Imagine that. World champion inside 10. We thought it was crazy when Joshua did it as early as he did.
I think it's one of the things when the opportunity comes, you've got to take it, don't you? Charlie's certainly taken this opportunity, and like I say, he feels ready. He is confident. His whole team, his brother Sonny, he's making his pro debut in October as well. The whole lot of them, all MGM, they are 100% confident that title, the RBF belt, is going back to Marbella with him.
There's another good fight on that card. You got Haskins and Hall.
Haskins, Stewie Hall, yeah, very good fight. I like Stewie Hall. I think it's a very tight fight, but for me, after watch both their last fights, Haskins and Hall, and for me, I think Hall edges it September 10th. I mean, don't get me wrong, I see Haskins tweeted a picture yesterday. He's looking in good shape. He's training hard, but for me, I think Stewie Hall just edges it at the moment.
I think Lee Haskins will outbox him. I think he's probably a better boxer. Obviously, Stu Hall, we know he can get involved in a war, and he's a great brawler. But I just think Haskins, if he's smart and boxes to the best of his ability, I think he can box him and he'll retain.
Yeah, if he's clever about it, there's no doubt in his ability. I think this whole, it's almost last chance saloon for him. I think he's just going to go in there and he's going to want a war. Like you say, he can brawl. He's a fighter. I think he brings that to the table September 10th.
Dave, what do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, a few streams with Stewie. There's been a lot of hard fights. I've been asking in the first time quite comfortably. Obviously, I'm pulling for a big Stewie win, but Haskins is a very tricky fighter. And the only thing that I worry about is he's just got Stewie's number, he's just a very good boxer, and he's just going to be a little bit too quick and a little bit too clever. But like you say, it is another good fight. The card, the September 10th card, it's stronger than I would first expect when I obviously knew what the main event was, and I know how much it costs. It does look like it's going to be a decent enough undercard.
You're going to go to it? You're going to be there?
Yeah, I've got my tickets now. I'm going to be there supporting Kel, also supporting Andy Townend, fighting Martin Ward for the British title.
Yeah, Martin J. That's another good fight. Yeah, Martin J. Ward and Andy Townend.
We've got the same manager. It's anyone, you're going to knock them out. So we're going down confident. Townend will bring the British title back. So yeah, it's going to be a good night.
But listen, Dave, it's been a pleasure having you on, mate.
Thanks a lot, mate. Anytime.
We'll speak to you soon.
Cheers, Dave. Thanks for your time.
That's all. See you soon.
This has been the Fight Talk podcast. Myself, Sam O'Reilly, and James Lupton from Round 8.